Morning, good morning. Just gone 10 o'clock. And welcome to this meeting of the Community and Services Committee. Good morning and morena to, on my right, Ken Bailey, our General Manager of Community and Services. Councillors here this morning, Matt Wong, Cody Tucker, Barry Guy, Lisa, Barry Bruce, sitting in cricket there. Lisa Guy and Esther Whitehead. Morena, good morning to you. Good morning to staff that are present today, and also to Ruby on my left, our new Democracy Services Advisor. Thank you for the work that you do, Ruby. Nice to have you on board. And also to media who might be attending and taking an interest in the agenda here this morning. So nice to have you all here. A little bit to get through this morning on this agenda, which is good to see. Apologies, we've had no apologies that have been received. Next, we have declarations of conflict of interest. Any sitting member got a conflict of interest? Matt?
Yes, I was a submitter for hydro attack item 2. So I'm happy to take advice on whether you'd like me to step back from the table during that discussion.
Yeah, I think I'll probably step back. Would be the wise thing to do.
Okay,
with that.
I can do that.
Thank you, Matt. No other conflicts of interest? Public forum. There is a registration to speak at the public forum this morning. Sam Johnson from the Paerewa Charitable Trust presenting on the proposed art bench installation at Jardine Park. And Mr. Johnson is presenting online via Zoom. Do we have Sam with us? Sam, are you there? Can we hear you?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and good morning, committee. Yes, I am here. So look forward to speaking to you whenever suits.
Great. Yeah, no, it's your turn very, very shortly, Sam. Just to let you know, normally around 3 minutes, but we're not that hard and fast in this committee. But you know, as long as I'm sure you're well known speaking, you won't ramble on too long. But you're here for a reason, and we're interested to hear, mate. So away you go.
Great. Well, kia ora koutou. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Chair and committee. Good morning. Can I first just apologise for not being with you in person? I do spend a lot of time in Queenstown as I represent the family who own the block of land between and above where you've just completed major beautiful roadworks between Mulligan and Ballarat Street, above Henry Street and below Hallenstein Street with Holbert House Hotel there. I work for a Japanese family office called Still. We're probably best known owning the World of Wearable Arts and Holbert House Hotel. And today presenting to you about Paerewa, the 1,000-year bench project. The project came about with this idea of creating beautiful places of reflection around our country and a network of them. And when we initiated the Charitable Trust, we wanted to embark on one early in the project in the Tahuna Queenstown region that would help bring connections between different people together. We started searching for a site. We were supported by the British Council with a small grant to engage a British architect, very famous architect duo, to design a concept that would symbolize friendship between people who come from different places to come together and reflect on the beautiful place of Tahuna Queenstown. We progressed that project. We eventually partnered with the Edgar family and Hamish Edgar particularly, who suggested Jardine Park. We then met with the community of Jardine Park and have, over the past sort of 6 months, worked with the council team on bringing to life a concept called tete-a-tete that brings together this notion of it's a chair. It's initially a French chair that you'd sit on it and face backwards, but it's reinvented as a large monolithic rock. It's 9 pieces of southern blue stone that would be placed together and bound together in a permanent way and be a destination bench seat or paerewa, pai being threshold, rere being how that threshold flows into the world around it, and wa meaning inseparable time and space. And so our work has led to your committee today and our application to, in partnership with you and in partnership with the Jardine Park community, to create this paerewa at Jardine Park. It would be one of the first in our series. It's not actually the first. We have already one that has been finished in the Auckland region. It just hasn't been announced. And we are also working on one in Blenheim at the moment. And within the next 2 years, there'll be a series of these pop up around the country. If I can be slightly biased for a moment, I think you've got one of the most beautiful reflective benches in our whole series proposed for Jardine Park. And it's been a real pleasure to work with the council and the community on this concept, and to also evolve the concept based on the feedback we got from the community. So I think, Mr. Chair, I will pause there and in case there's any questions, but otherwise, thank you for the opportunity. And we greatly look forward to, if the proposal is able to move forward, to welcoming you all to understand the concept more, and hopefully having you at the launch when it happens, when we'd also have the architects visit and spend time with us.
Great, thank you, Sam. I'll just ask councillors whether there are any questions. Esther Whitehead would like to ask a question.
Thank you, Sam. Just a quick question. Can you reiterate the material that it's made from? Did you say it's stone, so it's going to have longevity and wear well? That's
right. I mean, the number one criteria of our project overall is creating paretua or benches that last the 1,000 years. A portion of the funding that creates this bench goes into a long-term endowment fund that we hold, and then that will forever pay a little bit of money each year to a local community group or school to look after and maintain it. So I'll be very clear today, we're not asking the council to take any liability or responsibility for the maintenance of the actual object. Our trust will take that responsibility on and manage that ourselves locally. How you manage the park, of course, that's still what the council does. But that's the key model. And then specifically, the material is out of South Island bluestone.
Okay, thank you.
You. Any other questions? Matt Wong, yes.
Hi, Sam. Thanks very much for presenting today. Just wondering, were there any health and safety considerations when you came up with these designs, and have they been raised within the community as well?
Yes, we've actually been through a SEPTED process to check the safety of it, and it also went through the council's own design review panel, and we got feedback from that group and from council staff on the design of the handrail and also the size of the steps, and there was an adjustment made based on that feedback. So when you climb up to the top seat, if you look at the picture, when you climb up to the top, there's actually a small ledge that you'll sit in just to give it a bit more sort of safety, so you feel more supported. It doesn't have a large handrail, protruding right down the side, and that's it's more of a piece of art than it is it's a functional piece of art that you can climb on rather than a playground as such. But it has to meet the playground rules, which it does.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
Any other questions? No. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you presenting. It's item number 1, so we're not that far away.
Cool.
Right, we'll
Thanks
just move
very much.
through. We move on to matters lying on the table. There are no matters lying on the table this morning. Confirmation of the agenda, that the agenda be confirmed with and or without alterations. We have a mover there. Lisa, thank you. A seconder. Matt, thank you. All those in favour? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Over the page we go. Confirmation of the public minutes of the meeting, the ordinary meeting of the Community and Services Committee held on the 14th of August. Resolution required that the minutes of that meeting be confirmed as a true and correct record as amended. Mover. Cody, and a seconder.
Yep.
Esther, in favour?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So we get to item number 1 of our agenda here this morning. Paretua interactive art bench seat proposal for Jardine Park. We invite staff to the table. The author of the report is Christine Skipworth, Parks and Reserves Planner. Christine's going to present the report. No, we've got Brianna. Put my head up. Things change. Oh, surprise. Brianna and Sophie are at the table. The purpose of the report, carry on, is to consider approval of a permanent art installation at Jardine Park. The resolution requiring that the Community and Services Committee, 1, note the contents of this report, and 2, approve the Haererewa bench seat proposal in Jardine Park. Staff, over to you, Brianna and Sophie.
Morena, everyone. Sophie Craig and I are going to present this report today because Christine's on leave. So, we'd just like to provide a brief overview of the Haererewa seat proposal. As you may recall, Jardine Park Development Plan underwent public consultation and process in 2024 and was formally adopted by Council in April 2025. Within the adopted plan, several locations were identified for potential features or built infrastructure, including seating at designated lookout points. The specific location proposed for the seat proposal, looking out to the lake, is outlined in the plan. The seat is to be fully funded by 2 private trusts, as Sam mentioned, one of which is supported by a local family. As Sam also mentioned, an endowment fund has been established to cover the ongoing maintenance of the seat. Council may assume responsibility for managing this maintenance, utilising the fund as required, or it may go out to a community group, just depending on the seat setup. Because our usual maintenance program doesn't cover this type of seat or furniture, our proposal is being submitted under the arts policy. This is why the decision is here before you today. We're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Sophie. Any questions, councillors? Lisa? No? Cody?
No.
Matt?
Move it. Can I move it?
Okay, Matt, you can move it. Do we have a seconder? Barry? Barry Bruce. Get that right this time. Sorry, mate. So we have a mover in Matt, seconder in Barry. Any comments to make, councillors?
No, I can't make a comment until you guys.
Matt, you got anything to say, Matt? It's the mover.
You know, I just think it's a great opportunity, and it's take my head off to the organisers that are behind this initiative. And it's a great opportunity for us as a community to engage in sort of this arts and culture piece that actually is fully funded. How rare is this? So yeah, bring on more of this stuff.
Rightio, the resolution before us is that the Community and Services Committee, 1, note the contents of this report, 2, approve the Haererewa bench seat proposal in Jardine Park. Matt has moved, Barry has seconded. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
We need more like that.
I noted that little point. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep up the good work, Sam. Right, we move on to item number 2. A minor amendment to the Queenstown Bay Foreshore Reserve Management Plan 2016 for Water Sports Holdings Limited Partnership Jetty Access. Right, staff to the table. Matt and Jenny are here with us. The resolution required that the Community and Services Committee note the contents of this report and 2, recommend to Council to adopt a minor amendment to the Queenstown Bay Foreshore Reserve Management Plan 2016 Attachment A to amend the commercial access as shown in Attachment B. Staff, over to you, Matt.
Good morning,
Jenny.
everyone. I thought I'd just give a very brief summary as to why we're here today. This item's been around since 2020, and it came to Community Services, and the Reserve Management Plan went through a public process, went to a hearing, and was amended back in 2021 prior to resource consent being issued for this activity. That has since been to Environment Court, and it has been agreed at Environment Court for an access across the reserve. And so we're coming back now to match the Reserve Management Plan to what has been agreed at Environment Court. So the intent of that change that happened in 2021 isn't changing. It's just the physical area which the jetty will cross the reserve has been amended to match that Environment Court decision. So, welcome any questions.
Councillors, over to you. Any questions for staff on item number 2? Esther, yes.
Just for anybody watching, could you just explain the shape and location for the access? In terms of the physical shape and location of it.
Yeah, so I think attachment B covers what was included in the Reserve Management Plan originally, and then the new shape is outlined in blue. So instead of being a T intersection to the existing footpath. The new shape is more of a Y, so it's more opening to pedestrians rather than creating a sharp angle. And it also includes some stairs going down onto the beach. So we're amending to include that whole area within the reserve management plan.
Thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? Do we have a mover?
Yeah, sure.
Cody, and do we have a seconder? Lisa, any comments to be made, councillors? No?
No, yeah.
Okay, let's stick it to the votes. We've got that the Community and Services Committee note the contents of this report and recommend to Council to adopt a minor amendment to the Queenstown Bay Foreshore Reserve Management Plan 2016 Attachment A to amend the commercial access as shown to or add Attachment B. All those in favour? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, staff. Move on to item number 3. Now, this is the draft Coverdale Riverside Reserve Management Plan 2024. The purpose of the report is to consider recommending to Council that the draft Coverdale Riverside Reserve Management Plan is approved for public notification. Dom is with us and Jeannie back at the table from staff. Resolution required that the Community and Services Committee note the contents of this report, recommend to Council to approve the draft Coverdale Riverside Reserve Management Plan for public notification in accordance with section 41(6) of the Reserve Act 1977, and recommend to Council to select 3 councillors to be appointed to a panel to hear and consider submissions received subject to the draft Coverdale Reserve Side Management Plan being approved for public notification. Staff. Matt.
Yes, kia ora.
Dom, sorry.
Yeah, Dom Harrison, keep cleaning up here. The reason we are doing a reserve management plan for this area, just because it's, as Frankton is experiencing extremely rapid growth and with the Remarkables Park special zone there as well, which will be commercial mixed use. The reserve management plan will sort of provide a framework of objectives and policies that will support the Frankton community's vision for how their open space is protected and used going forward. So in March 2024, we saw early engagement with the community, and strong themes from the feedback included native restoration, improving access to the river and within the reserves, and protecting the sort of informal character of the open space there. So the draft reserve management plan sets out a framework for how the reserves will be managed, ensuring that informal character is retained while enhancing ecological values and supporting community initiatives that benefit the Frankton community. Any questions?
Thank you, Dom. Any questions for staff, councillors? Cody.
When will the hearings be?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking to go out for notification probably in November. So it'll be post elections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was just thinking procedurally how that works if the people that are nominated now don't end up in this.
Yes, so in the recommendation, it's for the hearing, for the committee to select a hearing panel prior to the hearing. So the idea behind that is that the 3 members wouldn't be picked today, but it would be prior to a hearing once the new elected members.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
No.
That's good. Thanks.
So just repeat that again, please, Dom.
So the idea
Yeah.
around point 3
Yep.
is that the committee wouldn't pick 3 members today for the hearing.
Yeah, gotcha.
That would just happen when a hearing is required after notification.
See who's left after.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? Esther?
Thank you. I sent an email with questions, which thank you for responding to. Just in the interest of making those transparent. So there are 2 Waihi Tapuna areas that overlap reserve, which are in the district plan. I wondered if in the draft that could just be made a bit more explicit, or put a reference to it. If you feel that that's appropriate. and if you don't feel that's appropriate, that's
So-
fine, but could you explain why so that I can understand?
Yeah, so it is mentioned in the reserve description section, that there's Waihi Puna overlays there, the detail of them isn't explored. I guess the idea is that with the, there's a placeholder there for the Mana Whenua section, which we're working with Okaha and Te O Marama. They'll provide that to us.
Okay, cool.
And we'll make sure that that's incorporated before we go out for notification.
Thank you. The other one was about the Ivan Young Zoological Reserve naming, and whether, I don't know if it's appropriate at this point in the draft to kind of signal that it's no longer a zoological reserve, so maybe the naming is not appropriate, but how we could kind of signal that in the draft.
Yeah, with the Ivan Young Zoological Reserve, so for context, that was named by council
Yeah.
at request of the Young in 2014. And even though the reserve isn't utilised as a zoological garden anymore, it still gives it still acknowledges the historic use of that space and the dedication that Ivan Young, all the work that he did to that reserve and that sort of historic use. So our thoughts were that it's still relevant, even though the zoological part isn't.
Yeah, I just wonder if it could be explored a bit more, so just bringing it up really to expose that, because I live really close to it and tourists constantly arrive and ask me where the zoological gardens are. I think it's a distraction. It could just be the name zoological is removed, so it still acknowledges and respects the Ivan Young Reserve and the work that's been done, but it's just a bit confusing for people.
Yeah, that's the direction that the committee would like to include in. I think it would be important to include the Young family into that conversation as well, as they're the ones who requested the original name change.
Sure.
Okay.
I've just got a couple
Yes.
more, sorry.
Go for it.
So on page 61, I felt again that it should be a bit more explicit about the pink hatched area and the ownership of it. On reading it, it just wasn't clear, I felt, to the reader as to why that was different to other land that just says remaining private land required to be vested. So what are your thoughts on that?
In terms more clear as in like the current ownership of it, so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so initially, we had that it was, that piece is part of the larger part of the Remarkables Parkland, but due to land being able to be sold and ownership changing, we settled on it completely as private land. That piece is subject to the 1992 Planning Tribunal decision that Remarkables Park has to vest that land.
So that's a definite that it will be vested.
Yeah, and so that's why it's been identified. It's because it, and the plan and the policy support the vesting of that land to council at a future subdivision stage, because that's the point where land gets vested to council.
Okay, I think that's fine, and thank you for explaining that. Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Any other questions, Lisa? Excuse me.
Precious. Looking at the different land parcels and also what we're consulting on, I'm curious about, are we keeping our options open for future public transport considerations? Like, are we not making sure not to inadvertently close any doors, and particularly looking at like that little private piece of land? If there was to be ferry accessibility anywhere along here, does the draft plan enable that to be expressed through this consultation?
Yeah, so for a ferry service or anything like that, like a jetty structure, all of that would be in Lynn's land. So Lynn's land is the piece that is actually on the riverside. So that's where that infrastructure would be located. Jeannie can probably speak to this a little bit.
That's a little yellow piece.
The little yellow piece is Lynn's land, so it's a bit of an obscure Lynn's parcel, where they didn't actually know that they owned it either. But we've had conversations with them and they're open to that being vested in council, so that's something that we may explore in the future as well. The Lynn's parcel I'm talking about, so is the actual riverbanks of the Kawerau River.
Because at the moment, the only bit I can sort of see is around that boat ramp being not supported. But from public earlier feedback, has there been any indication or questions asked around whether there would be support for PT access, either in our draft consultation or prior?
Not for public transport.
I can talk to the context of the potential water public transport options. I have been involved in that since several years ago, and the identified possible locations for a jetty terminal would be on it's actually Road Reserve, which is where the Kawerau River turns towards the north east.
So it's sort of at the end of that little.
Yeah, so
that's
that's where
parcel on the end of that map.
on the end of the map, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where Remarkables Park Limited have done some initial designs that would potentially tie in with a potential gondola corridor as well, and that is actually QLDC Road Reserve. So you can appreciate that land parcels that is very unusual in this particular corridor, but for historical reasons, just how individual parcels were, the tenure was decided upon. So that, because it's not reserved land and it's road reserve, that parcel where a potential jetty could go has not been included in this reserve management plan. However, the supporting infrastructure of additional trails and a potential pedestrian bridge is all enabled by this reserve management plan. And I think too, just, yeah, it's never been mooted as a potential along the river corridor in this particular area.
So what I'm hearing is there's provision made close enough that that stretch wouldn't necessarily be needed to consider.
It's, yeah,
A jetty or a wharf.
to my knowledge, it's never been part of the broader strategy, and also I know that it is very constrained in there with the willows, and I presume the current, it doesn't present itself as a suitable jetty location.
And that end point is where those investigations have been made, just outside.
Yeah.
On that. Oh. I think we know, yeah, we're both talking about the same place. Thank you, that answers my question. Cheers.
Excuse me, through you, Chair. Councillor, so have we answered your question regarding the process though, that window, as you described, is still open for public comment and feedback?
Yeah.
Yep, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Dan?
Thank you. Appendix 2, the Lynn's administered land. Can you just give us the history of that piece or that parcel of land and how it became such a weird little space?
How it became that weird little space, we're not quite sure.
I was hoping you get an answer.
But Lynn's also isn't that sure. So
Okay,
it came up
no one knows.
as we were preparing this draft,
Right,
that it wasn't actually QLDC land,
yeah,
and then it was Lynn's land. And we've had conversations with Lynn's, and they were happy for us to include that in our reserve management plan and for it to be managed in accordance with the reserve management plan.
right.
And they're also open to further discussions around the future vesting of that land to QLDC.
But at the moment, it would preclude us from doing certain things with that land, I would assume.
At this stage, but we could explore a management agreement with Lynn's that would do that, and they've indicated their support for that as well.
Right, okay, thank you. Second question around the zoological reserve, and there's some established infrastructure there now, so there's talk about fence removal. There's also some buildings on the reserve as well, is that right? And currently it looks like it's private land and can't be accessed by the public. Right now, can the public access that area?
Yes.
Right, okay. And so the intention is, and the feedback has been to remove the fence. Does that also include some of the established infrastructure that's also on that reserve?
Yeah, so in the reserve specific policy sections, it supports like improving the public access to that. That was one of the strong things that we got was that it felt privatised.
Yes.
So removing the fencing and any other sort of cleanup that may be required down there, whilst retaining the sort of mature vegetation and things that Ivan Young's planted.
And the family of Ivan Young, have they given any indication as to how they feel about obviously the removal of the fence and the infrastructure that's built on that reserve currently?
We've provided them with this draft plan, and they'll be able
So they'll
to
be
feed
able to
into
feed
the
that
process.
in the usual process.
Like anyone else. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Any other questions? Do we have a mover? Matt, seconder? Esther? Any any comments?
No, just good to see it happening. Thank you, looks good.
I'd just like to make a comment, and I know we're only looking to approve for public notification here. But I'd just like to read as follows, because this has been something that has been across my radar for a long time. The contribution of the late Ivan Young made to this community is more than what a lot of people will know, and that has been acknowledged over time. I'd also like to acknowledge his two daughters, Rachel and Penny, who have committed so much of their time and energy into this piece of reserve. I've seen firsthand young students and children and their parents enjoying and learning what the Youngs had created there. People will have their own opinions, but it was more than just a block of land to them. I've seen the naughty boys, as Rachel called them, excuse me, those in trouble with the law being sent to do their community service over the years on the property. And over time, I've seen the frustrations they have felt with council and other organisations. They only ever had the best for the land that they were looking after. I know there are parts of this plan that they will not be happy about, and I get that. But we do need to acknowledge their tireless work and stewardship of Rachel and Kenny Young. And in getting this out for consultation, give all other interested parties an opportunity to have their say. Thank you. Right, so the recommendation is that the Community and Services Committee, 1, note the contents of this report, 2, recommend to Council to approve the draft Coverdale Riverside Reserve Management Plan for public notification in accordance with section 41(6) of the Reserves Act 1977, and 3, recommend to Council to select 3 councillors to be appointed to a panel to hear and consider submissions received subject to the draft Coverdale Riverside Reserve Management Plan being approved for public notification. Do we have to select those councillors now? Really? Not just yet? Rightio. Matters moved. Esther has seconded. All those in favour? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
But I should have a clarification, Chair,
Yes.
that there will be no amendments around the naming of the zoological reserve, or is that wanting to be included?
I think it'd be good to get the direction of council. I think the names definitely needs to remain. Maybe zoological, as you say, is a bit of a hearing, but councillors, your thoughts?
Yeah, like I'm stuck in the past of what it used to be, but
Yeah.
also recognise that, you know, going forward, it's going to be a challenge for people visiting the district to actually get confused about what it actually is there now. So zoological gardens doesn't represent necessarily what the reserve is going to be in the future. So I'm open-minded to it, to a change.
Cody?
I couldn't argue either way. I don't know. It's not something I have strong views on, so it's hard to sort of state a claim.
Lisa?
Yeah, I acknowledge the family sentiment around the work and history of the area. I'm curious as to whether there may be another way we could represent zoological with a philanthropist kind of art project that came up earlier or something, but agree perhaps it's something that was engagement with the family. I think that has to be the first step.
Yeah, agree.
Um,
Barry?
you know, might not.
Oh, sorry.
And then, sorry, I was just going to say 2014 doesn't feel that long ago really for a request to have come to us, although we are 10 years on already. Yeah.
Thank you. Barry?
Yeah, I'm pretty strong on honouring the history of our region, and I think this family have had a huge commitment here, and somehow that should be respected and honoured.
Esther?
I think given that it's 11 years on and that we're putting together a consultation for the community, I think it's worthwhile signalling the future whilst respecting the past. So for me, I think it's an opportunity to speak with family first, recognising that they're here today. Thank you. Yeah, I think everyone said it. I think it's about respecting and honouring what's been, but also, and I think that can be done in a number of ways. So it's just that zoological is somewhat confusing to visitors who see the name on, because everyone uses Google Maps, and it's just somewhat confusing. So I think it's just about how we honour that and move forward. Yeah.
Can I suggest, Chair, that council committee, we as Norman previously picked up, we work with the family and
Yeah.
Articulate the sentiment, the history, where we're at, and where we're going forward with this draft piece of work.
Comfortable with that, councillors?
Yeah,
We
comfortable with that.
don't need to put
Thank
anything in there.
you for the feedback.
Yeah, right. So vote stand as it was. Thank you for your contribution, staff. You've heard obviously guidance, and we look to hearing back. With regards to our three councillors, Ruby, do we need to? Okay, so who's who's confident? Who would like to put their hand up to possibly be on that hearing come after election time? Matt?
Oh, he's feeling confident.
Just like setting myself up for things I don't have to do.
I would like to put my hand up, but as I mentioned in what I read just previously before Penny came into the room, is that I've had a lot of contact with them, so I'd probably feel just a little bit conflicted. So it'd probably be better for me to sit back a little bit. But we do have Matt. You're in there, you're three people.
Me and two others that aren't sitting here yet.
Yeah, just put these.
You probably need four in
Yeah,
case
so
one
these
isn't
four.
available, so.
I'm not
just
available.
So I don't like delegating, but
We can volunteer them.
okay, you tell them. Yes.
We volunteer you.
So we'll put Lisa and Barry and Cody in the mix as well. Thank you.
And as noted, Chair, at the point in time, obviously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Edie.
Thank you.
Right, we move on to the next item, item number 4. Which is the annual report 24-25 for the Te Muka Takata, the Creativity, Culture and Heritage Strategy for the Queenstown Lakes District. We'll invite staff to the table. Good evening, good morning.
Tēnā koutou katoa, thank you, Chair. Ko Marie Day, Aho, QLDC Community Partnerships Manager. I am pleased to be here today to present the first annual report for Te Muka Takata, the Creativity, Culture and Heritage Strategy for the Queenstown Lakes District. This is obviously a noting paper, but we just wanted to make a few points about what we've put in front of you today. This marks a significant milestone in our journey to embed creativity, culture and heritage as core pillars of community wellbeing across our district. This first report provides snapshots of progress across the 5 strategic PO and celebrates early momentum and sets a clear direction for the year ahead. I'm here today with members of our steering group, those partnering to activate and deliver key elements of the strategy. So next to me here, I've got Samantha Kirk, who is our Chief Operating Officer and Chief Wrangler, really, of our steering group from Three Lakes Cultural Trust. We've got Jane Peasy joining us as Director of the Lakes District Museum, Tarsi Quitches, who's Parks Officer here at Cemeteries and Heritage, and unfortunately Jean Maxwell couldn't join us today. She's our Relationship Manager, Arts and Events, an important part of our team. We've also got a wide network of colleagues and community groups that support delivery of the outcomes. We're working with a number of colleagues across council as well. This strategy was co-developed with Kaitahu, the Three Lakes Cultural Trust, and the Lakes District Museum, and many others in our community. The report reflects the emergence of a collaborative cultural ecosystem. It highlights the power of partnerships and shared leadership in shaping how we tell our stories, protect our heritage, and foster a thriving creative environment. We've already seen some early wins. The first district-wide hui brought together creatives and cultural practitioners to connect, collaborate, and shape shared priorities. We've completed our new QLDC events policy. Through Tarsi's great work, we've been supporting a range of heritage actions, for example, working with the Upper Clutha History Society to support installation of various heritage interpretive signage, sharing the stories of the Upper Clutha. And we've seen increased visibility and support for community-led events, exhibitions, and storytelling initiatives that reflect the diversity of our people and places, some of which we've talked about here in this meeting today, including the Pairere Wā sculpture in Jardine Park. I just wanted to reflect on that, an amazing initiative that really feeds into what we're trying to do with the strategy. Importantly, the strategy is well aligned with the government's National Creative and Cultural Strategy Amplify, which was released on the 28th of August. Like Amplify, our local strategy recognises the economic and social value of creativity and supports the growth of cultural tourism, exports, and sustainable careers in the sector. Both strategies emphasise inclusive access, investment for impact, and partnership with Māori as essential to long-term success. Amplify sets a national goal of growing the sector's GDP contribution to 22 billion by 2030. Our local strategy contributes to that vision by nurturing creative talent and infrastructure at the community level. I'm just going to hand over to Jane now to talk briefly about the museum's contribution.
Kia ora koutou, I'm Jane, the relatively new director of the Lakes District Museum, and I just wanted to say that the implementation plan of this strategy has really helped me clearly see where we need to move with the museum, and it's been an absolute privilege to work with these ladies. They're so passionate and dedicated to the work they do, especially Tarsi, who does such an amazing job with recognising the heritage assets we have in this area, which is so valued by our community. We're actively working to bring the many different heritage groups in our district together to share our expertise and knowledge. We had a very successful first Heritage Partners hui last year, and we're planning our second one for November. A recent very tangible outcome of this implementation plan was as a newly installed video display that we have put together in conjunction with the Upper Clutha Records Society, which is now in place in the museum, sharing their images and stories from the wider district. We have several museum display upgrades planned, and we've started the consultation process with different heritage groups from throughout the whole district. Our goal is to see the stories and taonga of every community in our whole district represented in the museum.
Thanks, Jane. Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Jane. Called Samantha Tokalingawa, Three Lakes Cultural Trust. The first year of implementation has been about building momentum, deepening connections, growing confidence, and turning vision into action. As the district's regional arts organisation, the vision of Three Lakes Cultural Trust is to see Queenstown Lakes recognised as a powerhouse of arts, culture and creativity, a place where artists and communities flourish. This directly supports the strategy's community vision, a district where the culture and stories of mana whenua and the diversity of our communities are visible, heard and celebrated every day. Across Aotearoa, the strategy has helped us strengthen our relationships, ensuring Queenstown Lakes is at the table alongside cultural leaders. Here at home, Three Lakes Cultural Trust plays a pivotal role in managing the strategy, turning priorities into meaningful collaborations and real actions across the district. The momentum is tangible, connections are forming, plus more, and initiatives are coming to life. The first annual report makes those achievements visible while setting the framework for consistent measurement and evaluation in the years to come. So whilst the momentum has come, we're only 1 year into a 10-year implementation plan, so we still have a big road ahead of us. Our community has provided feedback through many of our initiatives, which has motivated us along the way. So of the many comments, I'll just share one with you now. And this was in relation to the Hui, fabulous initiative and great opportunity to bridge Wanaka and Te Huna and strengthen arts in our region. Thank you again for your support and believing in Te Makatoi, Te Makatakata, and we welcome any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your work. Questions, councillors? Matt?
I have a broad question for you all. We're challenged obviously as a district and the whole country is challenged in terms of funding. And I see arts and culture as a core value that we have to deliver on, but that's being attacked a little bit and degraded. What is the challenge for you and how do you manage this challenge when the community or parts of the community are saying that arts and culture is not core service and we shouldn't be delivering on this? What is the message that you give to the community? I know I told you it was a ball.
Yeah, I said, Sam, somebody's going to ask this question.
Sorry.
No, sorry, I think look from, and I'll let the others comment after me, but look, I think we've seen the desire from a lot of parts of our community for more emphasis on creativity and culture. As a person that delivers community development in this district, I see this as a really important vehicle for connecting our community. We've got a rapidly growing and changing, evolving community. If we don't hold on to our heritage and make sure that's part of the future, that would be a big loss. And it is part of how we connect diverse groups together, like bringing culture, using culture as a driver for connection is really vital. So those are the things we continue to talk about, and we take every opportunity to connect with a range of partners, including those that are working more in the economic or tourism space. Really building up that connection with those areas will be very important for ensuring the government sees this as a vital area for investment, and that local councils have an important role to play in that as well.
Yeah, I echo what you're saying as well, and I do want to highlight absolutely the funding climate is difficult. I think that is probably one of the most important things around the strategy, around the importance of collaboration and working together. So one, we're not duplicating work, but we're also not duplicating applying for the same funding. So working together and aligning versus you applying. So that's definitely a piece of work we're doing. That's the collaboration piece as well. In terms of our economics for the district as well, you know, you've heard us say this before, that in terms of employment, we're the #2 most creative community across the country. The next year's stats should be coming out soon, so hopefully we'll see that again. So, you know, there's a huge part of our workforce here that work in this particular place. If we are doing the work with the strategy, particularly leading into the training and the skills and the capability building, well, hopefully that will just elevate everyone collectively as well. So it is a collaborative effort. It is tricky, but that's where those relationships really come in.
And I would say also that being on the ground, we're also the information centre. We also have an art gallery space in the museum. We talk to tourists daily. It's an economic driver. People want to know more in-depth information about the district. So it definitely is driving economic value.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of mapping the ecosystem, that seems quite massive, and there's groups and organisations everywhere.
Yeah.
Are you doing work around mapping the ecosystem, and as new organisations come into the frame, that sort of brought into the family?
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely a wider piece of work that we still need to work on. I guess there's two sides of it. There's the, I guess the who those groups are, but also the infometrics around it as well. So I've been connecting in a bit with the economic futures team and trying to understand some of the infometrics around that as well. So I've actually got another meeting later this week on that as well. So there's that side of it, understanding who are the players in that particular side, but also amongst the community groups as well. So through our tools like Te Wāhi Toi and our various databases, we definitely are leaning into understanding who everyone is And at the same time, what are our touch points alongside all of them? That also goes into work that we're leaning into this year around like connecting in the ecosystem of comms out there as well. So you've got a database, I've got a data. We've all got different databases, and we're all connecting with different different groups within the district. So how can we look at all those to make sure no one's missing and amplify the messaging collectively together? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that did. It's a one-stop shop. One place to get.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, Lisa?
Thank you. Congratulations to start with, also first report to the whole sector. A question I get the most from our community is about facilities and venues. And I know that one of your action steps for 25-26 is opening up more sort of unexpected places for arts to thrive. And, you know, I look at your report and celebrate things that have happened this training, like Schoolhouse Studios, totally validate the arts sector coming back here. You've fostered this great nest now for people to gain employment skills. We're seeing a she shed being built out at Country Lane, because men's shed is at capacity in Heritown. You know, we literally can't make enough spaces at the moment. I'm noticing things like Airburn starting arts classes, tiny room concerts at Blue Door. Fantastic. Have you got any other ideas or places that are starting to spark? And what else could council do to support venues and facilities when we just don't have money or places?
Thank you for all of that. I guess to answer one of your immediate questions, we do have a project that this November, it's called the Creative Spaces Project. So completely understanding that infrastructure is tricky. We can probably speak to that more, but as we all know, tricky. However, a lot of spaces and places across the district have walls, have foyers, have spaces that creativity can be showcased. So, and a lot of these different venue spaces and places don't actually realise that how to engage with local creatives as well. So we've created and we've launched the Creative Spaces Project. So working with Jan very closely and Marie Schmidt as well. And so we've put a proposal out to, a call out to artists and a call out to venues, and we've had incredible interest. So the month of November, we're looking at 20 different spaces across the district where local creatives are going to be there performing or showcase their work. And for us, we want that to build year on year as well, not only just for the month of November, but also for the Mountain Club or Queenstown Central or the airport or whoever to go, oh, we'd love to show some creativity, what's happening in our district. We know who to go to, so we know how we can make that happen as well. So we've had great enthusiasm. I think some of the comments we've had from some of our artists are, not only is this important, but also like, thank you for the opportunity to us to show our work. So hopefully that's one answer. We've got lots of ideas. We're not short of ideas, but we just need to make sure everything that we do aligns with the implementation plan to ensure, because that's what's been asked specifically what you approved. So yeah,
a little bit more. That's one piece where we have been talking about for a little while is the need for us to do a bit of a deeper dive into understanding the need for arts and cultural facilities in the district. So that is a piece we're looking at doing this year, and that's really looking out as a social infrastructure piece of research. I suppose next 30 years, what does that demand potentially look like in our district? And
we get asked about rehearsal spaces, places to put costumes and props and all of those bits we just don't have.
Yeah, and we're working as close as we can with our property team and you know, to see what we can do with what we've got. But also there's just more work to do on understanding and making sure we can respond as well as we can to requests or guiding people as to how they perhaps think about their own funding approach and things like that as well.
Exciting.
Yeah, and I think that's when you ask the question, how else can you help? I think this relationship is what's really helping. So for some of these art projects, it's great having Jan part of the team as well, because she knows, you know, additional spaces that, you know, so we've got some work going up in the libraries, for example, so she's able to help us with some of that as well. So yeah.
We'll just go to Ken and then we'll go to Esther.
Oh, yeah, Esther.
Okay, Esther.
Thank you. Just was interested in the bicultural aspect of the governance, which is great to see, because I think in this district we're quite kind of bereft of, it's very different to the North Island. And given that we're looking at heritage and culture, it's really important to me that we see this. So thank you for that. It's really comprehensive. My question is just about, so under the strategic goal of governance, I'm not sure what you call it, sorry, but can you tell me how, has the board got representation from Kaitahu at the moment, and how's that all looking in terms of shaping that up?
We've always had, through that Cultural Trust, has always had Kaitahu appointed to our board.
Yeah.
So she's still in there. We actually have a board meeting tomorrow, and a key discussion point is on heritage representation on the board as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Do we have a mover? Cody, seconder? Esther? Any comments? Cody?
I've got a comment.
Yep, cool.
Thank you for an amazing annual report. It is very, it must have taken a while. It's very comprehensive. I have looked over it, but I did wonder if there was opportunity to gather voices, because it's such a collaborative enterprise, to kind of gather voices in the writing of the report a bit more.
Okay.
Just because I think that would kind of showcase the collaboration.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And I'm all up for brevity as well. But it's awesome. There's not criticism. It's really thorough.
Great.
Go to Ken and then we'll let Cody, or Matt, then Cody.
You want to go first, Matt? He's just bumping.
Well, you keep passing it on.
Oh, okay.
The only thing I was going to say is, oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll go first. The only thing I was going to say was, delivering social infrastructure is quite challenging all the time, because it's the invisible infrastructure. And that's the challenge you have. And because of the funding priorities, you have to work harder, which means collaboration. So I congratulate all of you to be able to collaborate the way you do. You've got to set aside all your differences and what you want, and you've got to actually work together and negotiate. So well done. It takes a lot more effort than just the usual, give us the funding and we'll build it. So well done. Thank you.
One thing. Can I speak?
Sorry.
I just wanted to make 3 quick points. And firstly, to your point, Councillor Long, about the current fiscal challenge that this sector faces. We're facing that across the entire portfolio, and one of the things that we need to do as a leadership group of community services is bring to the new triennium the conversation, and one of our learned colleagues has that wonderful term about the handshake of community, and it's regardless of whether it's in this sector, whether in the green sector, the sports sector. We are seeing all those pressures play out, and clearly a voice too of how do you afford it all and keep things within pegs around rates and everything else that you look to do in this space. The second element I just want to pass through this group is thank you for recognising that. What you see is the strength of having a partnership. And when I was fortunate to get involved in the strategy, we have certainly shaped some pretty robust conversations within the partnership, a lot of smirks, as well as the sector. But one of the great things that you see in front of you today with the report and the way that we presented that report is actually a true connection around partnership and understanding their part within the way that it connect back into community. And we've evolved past we're missing out on this and they get that. We are well down the path of we have a strong voice within this sector. And that comes to my third and final point. I think regardless of the setting that we're dealing with, what you see presented today is the opportunity for us to take that conversation forward with confidence, that we have people willing to look at ways of doing business different, and it's captured in the report, and your comments will back that up. And we need to continue to be open to how we deliver the service, because one of the key outcomes that research keeps bending its way back to is just the simple importance of well-being, mental health, and connectivity with community. And when you actually dive into some of the programs and what they offer, there is no doubt that they all mark up really high and are an important part of the fabric that we offer across a wide and diverse community. So I just wanted to make those comments because the team have done an outstanding job in the first year of the strategy. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ken. Cody?
Could I
Yes.
just before Cody closes.
Great, Ken, spoke really well, so I'm glad that you.
Give you time to get it, your presentation. I just wanted to acknowledge, I did allude to it in my question, but the fostering of a creative nest for economic diversification and for our young people to have a career path. We talk about this being the second area to Wellington. I'm the proud parent of a Wellington artist who has returned home here because of the very career paths she's seen of being able to study here and sell her product. And what happens is we've got this incredible market for them where it is so easy for our artists to get visibility on a global stage. So they can come here, they can shine, they can get their art to the world. And I'd like to acknowledge what you're doing for the future of our children. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Cody.
That was also well said.
Remember, it's not competition.
That's great. To be honest, I felt like one of the reasons I stood was because post-COVID, we had a real opportunity to be more than just tourism and grow into something with more substance, with more soul, with more mana. And I feel like as a creative in my own profession, I've just embraced a lot of what's been there out of curiosity, and I've found so many connections, people that I can talk to. I've ended up pursuing with a business partner I found through all of these networks, and it has changed my life in many ways. And I think it's just to try and acknowledge that we're going through a period where, as you see in the report, politicians and, you know, ratepayers love numbers and they love what's tangible because, you know, 6 is more than 4. But you're always, you know, as a designer working in the intangible, whether that's, you know, good design or software or things that we know are important but are hard to put a number on. So I just want to acknowledge the effort in working in the intangible despite the future coming in. So thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Yeah, I'd just like to echo the comments of all the councillors around the table and just thank you all for the work that you're doing in this space. It's great. Fantastic. Keep it up. Right, Cody has moved that the Community and Services Committee note the contents of this report. Esther has seconded that. All those in favour? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we get down to our final item, number 5. It's our final chair's report in this triennium. I think I just might lead off initially and then hand over to our General Manager, Ken Bailey, so he doesn't feel left out. But of course, as always with the chair's report, it's the resolution required that the Community and Services Committee note the contents of this report. There's a lot in our final report of the triennium. I do thank staff and councillors around the table for your contribution this triennium. Esther, we know that's your final meeting of the Community and Services Committee, and you've been the deputy chair as well. So I'd just like to thank you for your contribution to this committee. I know the greater contribution that you've made around the table in general as councillor for the district. So whatever the next step is for you, we wish you well and thank you for the work that you've done and the direction that you've helped given us, and maybe for some of us, an education that you've given us in those fields that are strengths of yours. Thank you. And good luck to those that are re-standing. We'll leave that there. Just looking at the chair's report, you know, there's a lot in it. And I'm just going to go through some of the headlines, which is just basically the bold stuff here. 516 Ladies Mile, the community facilities, and how we've managed to hopefully move that a little bit forward. The Queenstown Event Centre Indoor Courts and Fitness Centre project, we knew that there's been a lot of work in progress over a long period of time. We've been able to get that one across the line. Te Aramera, we've just had the women with us around the arts and touching on that and what Te Aramera has done for this community in that aspect. I think from my own personal point of view, I do have strong views around Te Aramera as being a trustee and been on that board since the inception. It's always an organisation that amazes me and continues to educate me around the arts in this community. Over in the Wanaka Upper region, they've got the Valentine Road site establishment works, and the way that we've brought that forward as a committee and with the assistance of staff, the Paitata Aspiring Central, which opened up in this triennium on the 1st of October, the Luggett Memorial Centre and Playground redevelopment was decommissioned back in 2017, and we've made a real impact in that space. We've supported the Wanaka Cricket Club. We've funded the Hardware Domain Board to relocate a portable building to the Hardware Domain. We've built basketball court space at the Hardware Community Centre and development of a play structure part of the Wanaka Recreation Centre as well. The idea of the report has always been about just trying to signal to our community in these tight fiscal times and the direction of the committee that you all gave us, committee members and staff working together, as the endeavour and the work to try and, as our general manager says, to try and move the dial on some of these projects, no matter the financial and fiscal situation. That's what we've endeavoured to do, and the report just continues to highlight the work of staff and councillors of this committee as to the progress. And I think we all just need to stop for a minute and just think, staff, councillors, to think of the work that we've done. And we've done work in the last 3 years, and I thank you all for that. The Wanaka Including Sports Facilities Working Group has been formed. We've renewed the 6 outdoor courts at the event centre, developed the QLDC Community Facility Strategy, hosted and facilitated numerous sporting and cultural events for the district, reconfigured the Franklin Golf Course, still keeping 9 holes. And then we moved to our libraries and the role that they play in our communities. And the work that they do is probably, in my opinion, some of the unsung heroes of this organisation, because they're just there doing their work. And we know that that space has got a little bit challenging in recent years, which is rather concerning. But our library staff still continue to go in day after day to do the work that they do. And we marvel at the work that they have done over a long period of time and will continue to make, no matter the makeup of councils into the future. The highlights there through our libraries programs in the 3-year term have been numerous and immense. Parks, of course, the draft to Tapanui Queenstown Hill Reserve Restoration Management Plan, that was a chunky bit of work that councillors were keen to get their teeth into. And hope, Matt, that I do hope that you are returned, but it's been a driving force for you. And something that you mentioned early on, and staff and this committee took it on, and we got ourselves there, Lisa, with your assistance as well, and the assistance of the committee and full council. We've got the Arrowtown Riverside Reserves at Widgeon Park, the Tiki Trail pedestrian bridge. The list goes on. Community partnerships, welcoming communities, community wellbeing, community associations. Oh, and responsible camping at the end.
Just finish on one of the others.
Yeah.
Wellbeing.
Would you like to make a comment, Esther?
Yeah, I would like to make a comment because I think my favourite part of being a councillor has been with this committee. It's where a lot of the heart comes from in our work, and I think, as has been said throughout, it is often intangible stuff. It's the wellbeing stuff. I think we can see it's quite disconcerting kind of globally, the disconnect that people have from place and from one another, and also through different cultures. And I think that we have held strong on that and built that amazingly. And yeah, you've kind of, everyone's already spoken to who that is, but thank you to all the staff. It's been incredible work done. And yeah, they're the bits that I'll hold on to from my term to, well, term and a half on council. So yeah, and thank you to all my colleagues as well.
Thank you, Esther. Ken, would you like to comment at all?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. 37 points in the Chair's report. And that was cold, I suspect. I'm pleased, Councillor Whitehead picked up. We're not leaving it on the responsible camping discussion, given we've still got the Bible to come back on the 9th of October. I guess there's a number of points, and for those listening or haven't had the opportunity, I really would suggest you take a look at what we've done, because this committee, alongside our community board members over in the Upper Clutha, have made a real commitment to us as a group moving the dial. And you know, that even looks like the formation of this current long-term plan, which has a very strong voice through this committee, as well as the community board. And one of the things that was requested of us was to actually develop a track record of actually getting on and doing the business. And as you've seen today, you know, and I'm never surprised about how much effort has gone into what you've received even today. And one of the things that really stands out, and I'll point back to you, Chair, it's you've also held us to account about having a report of this nature. And amongst this, at the end of this triennium, you've asked for some of the highlights, and when you just take a moment, as you pointed out, Councillor Whitehead, there are quite a few. There's 3 elements I'd just like to touch on. one of the things I've been very fortunate in the time I've been in this role is that the calibre of our staff, you quite candidly, you don't often come into the vocation of working in community and services and local government to make your riches. But what you do find is that we've been very fortunate. We've retained a lot of skill, experience and knowledge that's been really driven to make a difference with connecting community. And you know, we've got a wee army that works in that space. I should be careful with that comment, but there's a lot of staff that give a lot back, and it's a 7-day operation. The second point is that we've had some really clear guidance from our elected officials sitting around this table, community board and council, about what's important and how you wanted to see us make sure those conversations were taken forward with the community, but importantly held to an account around timeframes and deliverables. And my third point, it's good to see goats and rabbits within this, but as one of the councillors at this table pointed out about 18 months ago, it was almost feeling like a committee of trees. So it's nice to have a bit of flavour with the arts because the whole park's bomb squad turned up, as you can see. But what I would really like to impress upon everybody here and listening is there's been a lot of work across the key streams that I'm responsible for, and we're really well served with the commitment that the staff bring, but importantly, as you've just seen firsthand, the commitment we make to partnering with the community that can make a difference. And I think that's one of the great things that this committee's actually witnessed firsthand, and made it really clear that that's been a key part of what you wanted to see happen, that we've worked in partnership. And there's many examples that we've done in the last 3 years. So if you're finding yourself, you know, just needing a moment at the 317s, as I call it, which is when you wake in the morning at 3:17 for whatever reason, just remind yourself you've all put your shoulder to the wheel and assisted us and the wider community services team to make a difference. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ken. Rightio, final item, Chair's report, number 5, resolution required that the Community and Services Committee, note the contents of this report. Do we have a mover? Barry, and do we have a seconder? Esther. All those in favour? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, staff. Thank you, councillors. At the end of the meeting, 11:10.
Thanks, Ben.